Steven Crowder came out of retirement. He was the guy that originated the entire movement of going to college campuses to debate kids on college campuses. Now, as we know, if we're actually, well-read, colleges are essentially breeding cesspools, gigantic, evil, demonic orgies of far-left people trying their best to indoctrinate children to castrate themselves, not get married, not have children, die young, and introduce the next generation to their terribly depressing, morbid, self-destructive lifestyle. That is what modern college is now, because that's what we're up against. We're up against demons. Sorry, I know people will think, Nux, you're going too hard out of the gate. I'm not going hard enough out of the gate. So, it's the places where men go to become girls, as they say. So anyway, this is Steven Crowder after Charlie Kirk's horrible nightmare assassination that is still breaking my heart, by the way. This is him going to talk on a college campus to talk to people. Now, last time someone went to talk to people, he was killed. So I have nothing but respect for Steven Crowder for actually picking up the bloody microphone and doing his part. I like to think that I am too. I am definitely less safe than I was when I started this, and I am definitely getting more death threats by the day, every single time. Every single day, I'm getting more and more death threats for actually speaking what my opinion is. For those that are not aware, my opinion is the fact that there's 1 million abortions a year in America, and 99% of them are done purely due to convenience, means that there is essentially a child holocaust happening in America every year, and apparently saying that makes me the bad guy. So anyway, this is Steven Crowder going to a college campus to say the left is violent and have debates. As you can see, here's him putting on a vest, and Z. Cohen Sanchez retweets this, saying, "Why is Steven Crowder wearing a bulletproof vest at a conservative campus?" First of all, it's not a conservative campus. That's first. It's a conservative state. Second of all, it's because you're killing us. It's because you're killing us and you celebrate our murders. I think it's actually fairly obvious. But again, this is a tweet that's kind of coming to try their absolute best to imply that it's conservatives that are the violent ones. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who the Z. Cohen Sanchez character is, she is a founder of the national ground game Unfuck America Tour. The Unfuck America Tour, in case you're unaware, is the tour that's currently teamed up with Destiny, a couple of the other retards, and they all basically go together from college to college to chase around Charlie Kirk. They call themselves the official counter-organization to Turning Point USA, but what the original slogan for the Unfuck America Tour was, "Bring the fight to Charlie Kirk." That is literally how they called themselves. And, well, they brought the fight to Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a far-left dipshit. So, anyway, that's Z. Cohen Sanchez, organizer of the fucking Unfuck America Tour. The people that were out there bringing the fight to Charlie Kirk. Well, they won the battle, but they're going to lose the war. Anyway, so this is basically, in my opinion, trying to incite violence. Again, not trying to read into it too far, but you have leftists foaming at the mouth across Twitter saying that someone needs to kill Steven Crowder next. So leftists don't murder him, you fucking retard. Your side assassinates people. 60,000 likes, 1.2 million views, because obviously, yes, you are literally monsters. You are proving incorrect on the daily basis here. Now, in my opinion, this is even worse. This is Representative Eric Swalwell. He is an actual Democratic Parliament guy, whatever the fuck, a representative of Congress. So this is him retweeting Steven Crowder's Change My Mind tour, saying, video shows conservative Christian podcaster Steven Crowder allegedly berating his now ex-wife. 50,000 likes, million views, because he yelled at his wife once on a camera. So essentially, why are you bringing this up if it's not literally to get people angry at your existence? Now, I decided to respond with this. Imagine criticizing an American for having a civil debate. He yelled at his wife. When this is you running defense for a wife-beater, human trafficker terrorist with a deportation order because Trump added MS-13 in Comic Sans to a tweet, right? Representative Eric Swalwell, representative of California's congressional district, whatever, 14th congressional district. Last month, President Trump shared an edited image of the knuckles of Kilmar Abrego de Garcia, a Maryland resident, an illegal immigrant with a protected status. Lies! He did not have a protected status. He had an open deportation order. Wrongly sent to a Salvadoran detention facility. The photo showed MS-13 apparently added above his knuckles tattoos. MS-13 was written in Comic Sans on the image to prove that the coded tattoos he actually had said MS-13. Even the photos of his other hand did not have the text because they added the text in Comic Sans to prove a point. Obviously, it wasn't part of the tattoos that he had. But essentially, because Trump added MS-13 in Comic Sans to a tweet, that is enough to say that he should be running defense for a wife-beater human trafficker. terrorist, evil, illegal alien, villain to America. But this is someone that is now putting the target on the back of Steven Crowder, a man that's willing to have a debate on a campus. Do you understand the level of evil we're dealing with? Do you understand the level of evil when representative of Congress are going to sit out there and they're going to put targets on the back of random conservatives that want to have a conversation because he yelled at his wife once on camera? Like, dude, this is like, it's unbelievable levels of evil. Because there would be no reason to signal boost this with this article, if not directly to put a target on his back. But think about it. What's the purpose of this tweet? Think about it for a second and you'll understand. Why make a tweet like this? You could have called him out for yelling at his wife for years. But you're doing it now as a retweet for the fact that he's on a college campus? If this isn't to signal some fucking retarded furry trans freak that has pent up rage and violence and mentally ill to go kill him, I don't know what the point actually is. Anyway, let's watch this video. I wanted to support this. We're probably not going to watch the entire thing, but we're at least going to watch the first major debate he has in this video, because the left is violent. I completely agree. And the only way to fight back is with our form of violence. Non-violent, unless they're violent first. In which case, I fully subscribe to the Steven Crowder doctrine of you need ruthless, legal violence in retaliation to this shit. You need to be strapped, be careful, be prepared, because they want you dead. This is a battle of good and evil. This is not about policy. So let's lock in, boys and girls. Everyone needs to pick up Charlie Kirk's microphone. And everyone on Twitter is now signaling to kill this guy next. Absolutely evil.
The reason we're here, and I don't think you would argue that this is unnecessary, the assassination.
Record, I do not support yelling at your wife. It's not a good thing to do. I personally am not a yeller myself. I don't do yelling. But that again, not very nice. But again, I wouldn't necessarily put a target on someone's back because he yelled at his wife once on camera. To be honest, realistically, she was probably a massive bitch to him too. Most problems in relationships go both ways. And just because he was caught on camera yelling at his wife, that doesn't mean she wasn't a giant bitch. Again, I don't know the situation. I don't know what happened on the inside. It usually takes two to tango.
In cold blood is an act of terrorism of Charlie Kirk. Is that political violence?
What? How are you thinking about this?
You seem so confident on the Hortmans, but not Charlie Kirk.
I was just thinking about your question.
If that doesn't constitute political violence that could be answered in the affirmative immediately, of course, what would?
Hey YouTube, what you're about to watch is a new segment we call Change My Mind.
Wow, I can't believe I watched this first one in 2017.
Welcome back to Change My Mind.
Wow.
It's been a while. This is the place where we rationalize, we reason our positions on controversial topics. When I created Change My Mind in 2017, I had one goal in mind, and that was to shine a light on the institutions that had failed Americans.
True.
Often, students propagandized by the educational system.
Dude, we need to do something about the educational system. I don't know if you're aware, but the president of El Salvador, Bukele, may God bless that man, banned all trans and gender ideology conversations in schools in all of El Salvador. God bless him. Dude, we need to do something, man. This is the way. This is the way. Absolutely, this is the way. 100%. No, like, we have to fucking do something about this, man. We have to do something about this.
System, as well as legacy media.
Like, this is an actual propaganda issue. The fact that Charlie Kirk was effective by just having normal conversations proves that it's a propaganda issue.
Trump's once again defending comments he made about the white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
There were very fine people on both sides.
The president's statement that both sides are responsible for the violence in Charlottesville.
It was designed to bring genuine dialogue to what had become an impenetrable echo chamber dominated by progressive professors, administrators, student leaders.
That's why the right-wing media sphere is bigger than the left-wing media sphere. The left wing don't need a media sphere. They own Hollywood. They own the media. They own the colleges.
Leadership, along with the complicit media and big tech establishment. To put it simply, the kind of dialogue that evaded all of cable news.
I know you said that. Please just
You said I was being hyperbolic. Let me respond. I'm not. You being a white man.
That just shows you the ridiculousness of it.
And so, nearly a decade later, with billions of plays.
Yeah, alternative media killed the left because my opinion is very simple. There is truth and there is lies. Truth will always win, and lies will do their best to do as many evil, underhanded tactics to destroy lives and lies. And that's why truth wins.
Countless discussions, inspired.
God's on the side of truth. Let's not forget.
Iterations, one meme of the year, and yes, even a few changed minds later.
I somewhat changed your mind.
Change My Mind had grown far bigger than I ever initially anticipated. And with that came pushback, controversy, increasing hostility, and yes, straight up violence.
Wow, dude. Of course. Obviously. Obviously. Why is no one doing this to Destiny when he does his college tour? Now, to be clear, I'm not condoning it. I don't want anyone to do this to Destiny. I do not want any violence to happen to Destiny or any of these people that are doing their fucking tours. I don't want that to happen. But have you ever wondered why it doesn't happen? Have you ever wondered why it doesn't happen? Well, it's almost like there's one side that it's principles and ethics that are rooted in biblical values, and then there's the other side that's rooted in communist values that want to destroy Western civilization.
You piece of living garbage-ass dumpster fire!
It got to the point where security became a serious issue. And so I pulled back. Now, given recent events, however, I felt led, compelled even, to bring it back. Voices like ours, and I mean ours, can't be silenced. And I say this to you watching.
For the record, it's all of us. It's literally all of us. We all need to pick up this microphone. We all need to fight. We all are Charlie Kirk.
On the left.
Of course, the police don't care, obviously. It's mind-blowing. It's such a tragic situation that imagine needing to fight for your life to have a conversation. To have a conversation with a kid, a student, a 20-year-old in college. Fighting for your life. Do you understand how insane that is? Oh my God. Like, again, they're like freedom of speech. All point of views are valid, and then they just literally will kill you for having another point of view. Never forget they want you dead.
Made me do this. I didn't necessarily want to, and everyone told me that this, in today's climate, could not be done unless I took unbelievable precautions, unless it was absolutely kept a secret until mere hours before the event as a pop-up, unless I literally brought an army with me and bulletproofed the entire radius.
Oh my God. He couldn't announce it in advance so a terrorist wouldn't be able to prep a sniper strategy. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's terrifying that you need to even think like this. You are literally at risk of getting killed if you have basic conservative beliefs and you're not afraid to speak. Think about how terrifying it is. Jews stabbed in England, Mormons murdered in Michigan, Catholic kids murdered in Minnesota. It's constant. It's endless. It's a war on God.
Which is exactly what we did. And so today, for the first time in many years, Change My Mind returns, and
dude, they are walking him around like he's a mob boss. He's a podcaster! He's a podcaster that wants to have a discussion with college kids! He's a podcaster! Look at this! This is insane!
Back to one of the places where it all began, Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. Today's subject is plain and simple. The left is violent. Will anybody be able to change my mind?
Hey, we are so back.
Thank you, Christina, for sitting down.
One more time.
Stephen.
Yes, okay.
So I'll take that. I mean, you're not maybe super familiar with what we do with these this series. Let me just kind of clarify what it is. First, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not gotcha. It's not clickbait. This is not meant to be, or it won't be used to clip.
That's a man. That's a dude. That's a guy, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Into some kind of a dunk.
That should be transphobic. No, phobia is an irrational fear. I'm very rationally terrified. Yeah, it is a rational terror. Okay, I do not want my children getting castrated, please. Thank you.
Or something just from people espousing the same rhetoric on one side. It will be uploaded contextually in its entirety, where hopefully we have a productive discussion.
Yes.
We rationalize our positions, reason them on controversial topics. Before I get to the premise of today, could you do me a favor just so we can find some common ground?
Yeah.
This is what's being cited right now quite a bit. Just the definition of political violence. I want to make sure we both agree on it.
All right. That's how you start. You have to start with a definition every single time. Yep, absolutely. No, did you see my tweet? I made a pretty crazy tweet. I'm not gonna lie. So people have been canceling Netflix over like all their cringe, woke gender ideology bullshit that they've been pushing in like all of their TV shows. So here's like a TV show of some girl yelling at a doctor for misgendering a patient.
Can I please talk to you two outside?
And she goes outside, she tells off the doctors.
I know that you guys are busy, but as you would see, if you looked at her and not her chart, Bailey is not a boy. And by treating her like one, you are completely ignoring who she is. You're making her feel insignificant and humiliated. And that's not gonna help her feel good or safe or calm.
Yeah. Anyway, Sir, we have bad news. Doctor, it's ma'am. How dare you misgender me? I'll have you know I go by she, her pronouns. Your medical chart makes me feel insignificant. You're a bigot. Ma'am, you have prostate cancer. Ma'am, you have testicular cancer. Anyway.
Violence are criminal complaints, indictments, and court records looking for crimes that seek a socio-political change or to communicate to outside audience.
And I'll summarize it. That's the technical description from the source cited.
Yeah.
It's violence as a tool being used toward a political end.
Yep.
In other words,
political violence makes sense. Yep.
just because you vote Democrat or because you vote Republican, if you accidentally hit someone with your car and commit manslaughter, that's not political violence. If you vote Democrat, but let's say you go out and run someone over because of their politics, that would be political violence. Do we agree on that?
I think I can agree with you on that.
Okay,
yes.
Good. So the premise today is that particularly today in 2025, by and large, the political violence is coming from the left. It's not proportionate with
I have some people in chat saying that she is a biological female, and I was just, like, because she's ugly, I was being rude. That's the world you created. I don't know if this do be a biological man or a woman. I don't know, but you created the world where we start calling ugly women men. I'll be real. You created that universe. Now you have to live in it.
That on the right, that's the reason for the security that you see today that's very necessary. And it's a problem that's reaching a boiling point that may not be sustainable. If you disagree with me, you're welcome to change my mind.
All right.
I don't know if I can change your mind because here's the thing. When I see the sign that says the left is violent, and you talked about how it's not proportional, and I would love to see your statistics about that.
Sure.
What do you mean your statistic?
We could make the same statement about the right very easily, right? Like we could say that, was it just a month or two ago that the Democratic lawmakers were shot, and that was like...
The Democratic lawmakers were shot by a lefty! Why are we doing this game every single time? Is this a teacher? Someone in chat said she's a teacher. Oh my god. Stop! The Democratic lawmakers were shot by a Tim Walz appointee who literally wrote in the manifesto it's not because of Trump.
All right, I think our bigger problem is that the
Talk about the Hortmans in Minnesota, right?
Right, yeah, because she was a senator and her husband was also killed, and that was
a tragic situation that was done by a retard leftist.
Was done
and for the record, it was not celebrated by anyone.
By the right, whatever, but...
It wasn't, but...
Get ready for the Jan 6 Trump card.
Continue.
Oh, that wasn't a...
No.
It wasn't a conservative or...
No, that's why I used the example that I did. The person, Vance Bolter, who committed it, specifically said it had nothing to do with politics, and he left a letter reasoning it, saying that Tim Walz had ordered him to carry a hit out on people. So he was very clear that it wasn't in the name of politics. That's someone who happened to be, on some issues, Republican, on some issues Democrat. And he was appointed by a Tim Walz administration.
For the record, that was right after Melissa Hortman voted against the Democratic Party.
So that was not done in the name of political violence. He said Tim Walz ordered him to assassinate somebody who was out of his mind. But I'd like you to continue with the example.
Sure. And let's say, okay, so he wasn't right. That's fine.
No, it wasn't political violence.
It wasn't political. Oh, it didn't count as political violence.
Based on the definition you agreed to, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is there's so many things happening. It's actually really hard to get all the facts about everything.
Sure.
And our media is when they make these statements or they start to postulate about an event, and it will become political before we've even fully fleshed everything out.
Could you give me an example?
Well, the shooting that happened at the church yesterday. I haven't seen enough. I don't know. Have you seen any media on it yet? I'm curious to know what they're saying
quite a bit
about it. And I want to know how are they characterizing it?
Yeah, the media isn't characterizing. Even I will say this. Even on the left and the right, they're not really characterizing that as political violence.
Okay.
Because it was a guy.
It was in my opinion, anti-God violence, which I think is even more prevalent than political violence in America. I don't know. I feel like my view on this has definitely shifted a lot, but I do think that right now it's more anti-West violence than even anti-right violence. I just think that, for the most part, the right is aligned with the West. So I do believe that attack on the Mormon church was an attack on God. A guy went to shoot up a church because he hated the church. He hated Mormons or whatever. That's, in my opinion, disgusting. Maybe not technically political violence, but I do think it's this rising issue of anti-West violence.
Who really seemed to harbor ill will toward the Mormon church. So it's pretty hard to categorize it as political violence when the targets were largely conservative and the man who carried out the action seems like he might be a Republican. But I think we could pick a more clear example, a multitude of them. The reason we're here, and I don't think you would argue that this is unnecessary, the assassination in cold blood is an act of terrorism of Charlie Kirk. Is that political violence?
Bro, there's no way. What are you thinking about?
You seem so confident on the Hortmans, but not Charlie Kirk.
I was just thinking about your question. Yeah, I mean, probably because he was like Turning Point USA is a conservative organization, right? That's meant to try and rally young conservatives and be involved. And so, yeah, I would probably agree that his death was, his murder, assassination was politically violent. But I guess I just have a hard time reconciling that with, we can say that the senator and her husband being killed wasn't political, but...
I'll tell you exactly why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because the express motive of the terrorist who assassinated Charlie Kirk was politics. He killed him because he said he's one of those hateful conservative right-wingers.
Yeah.
The rhetoric that he espoused, the reason that he killed Charlie Kirk, was to take out someone of his political persuasion and make others of his political persuasion afraid to express their opinions. The man who assassinated, which I roundly condemn, Vance Bolter, the Hortmans, did not do it as a means to a political end. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he is not an elected official, solely because of his political perspective as a method to instill terror in the populace.
Straight fact.
How do I know? Because the person said it was political violence.
Okay, what if we just...
The killer literally said anti-fascist on his fucking bullet. What are we talking about?
We have enough information, though. Like, what if it is politically motivated and we just don't have enough to know about it yet?
In that case, we do.
Well, not in this particular instance, but I just mean, like, with the Hortmans you mentioned.
Okay, well, let's separate the gray area.
Okay.
Right? That's why I kind of start with the example. Just because you, I would assume, let's say, vote Democrat or Republican, just because you commit a crime doesn't make it political violence. I mean, if we did that, we'd have 90% of the crime being committed on behalf of the Democrat Party because most people in inner cities vote Democrat. I don't consider that to be political violence.
I do consider Black Lives Matter to be political violence, for the record. I think that the Black Lives Matter protests and riots are absolutely counted as political violence. No doubt. Literally no doubt in my mind that should count.
People have political beliefs, and people commit violence. Sometimes they rob a store because they want money. People who commit political violence do so specifically.
The Antifa riots, the anti-fascist riots, the anti-ICE riots. It goes on forever and ever. The Free Palestine riots, all of that is political violence.
To instill fear in political opposition. They specifically commit violence as a means to a political end.
Okay.
And when we categorize it that way, it's overwhelmingly coming from the left. We do have the sources here that we make this available, so you can take the QR code. So what would make you, because you seem very confident that the Hortmans was political violence, and then it's nuanced with Charlie Kirk. Why?
Oh, I didn't say it was nuanced at all with Charlie Kirk. I agreed with you after considering your question that it was a political...
If that doesn't constitute political violence that could be answered in the affirmative immediately, of course, what would? Like, what would be required to say, oh, this is clearly an act of political violence or political terrorism, if not Charlie Kirk?
I agreed that it was political violence, so I'm not sure where this question's coming from.
Well, I'm saying because you came in and pointed to an example that would be in the gray area, the Hortmans, and took a long time to agree with that premise of Charlie Kirk. And so what if we don't know enough information? So Charlie Kirk would be very clear left-wing political violence.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Great.
Yes.
So there are more examples of that coming from the left than the right. That's the premise, yes.
Okay. So you're saying clear examples of political violence.
Yes.
You're using
violence carried out as a means to a political end.
So there's clear information, data that shows us that the left is more violent than the right.
Yes. Not only in crime statistics, but also in the polling after Charlie Kirk's death. Now, I believe that you're discussing this in good faith, and I would assume that you roundly condemn political violence of all stripes.
Of course.
So do I.
Right.
Just to be clear, I think we both are.
This is a college kid. This person votes, bro. What are we doing, man? What are we doing, guys? This person votes. This person literally votes. Oh my God.
That's why we're sitting at a table having a conversation.
Right.
Do you identify as more liberal or conservative?
I like to think I'm moderate because I hold some conservative views and some liberal views. Okay. And I wish we could have a little bit more moderation in our country.
Like sitting down and having discussions?
Exactly.
Okay.
Like things like this.
Because we get killed for it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And only the right gets killed for this anyway. You're seeing the one that got through. The reason I stopped doing this for years is because every single time out was a violent attack. Sometimes it was a rock, sometimes it was a milkshake, could be concrete, acid, chocolate, vanilla, I don't know. Doxing, fire bombings, Molotov cocktails. Maya Angelou spoke at SMU only a few years before my first time here, didn't need this kind of security. And you can see it if you observe your speakers here. And I'll tell you why that is. If you look at the polls post-assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you label yourself as a moderate, those who
Everyone that labels themselves as a moderate is not a moderate.
identify as liberal support political violence at a ratio of 6-to-1 to conservatives. The YouGov poll said, is political violence acceptable? 77% of conservatives said not at all. Only 38% of those on the left said not at all. 62% of those on the left said somewhat to completely acceptable. We see the same stats after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. We see the same stats after the fire bombings of the Tesla dealership. And we see the same stats on the opposite side, those on the right roundly condemning political violence. The lowest you'll find is 72. You usually find it in the high 80s. You will not find a number that breaks half on the left.
Okay, you mentioned Donald Trump. Can we...
Bro, are you not going to acknowledge what he just said? That statistic destroys your entire argument.
Jump back. Can we jump to that for just a minute?
Also, for the record, all of these pollings, they all count Free Palestine riots as far right because, well, you know, Islam is pretty far right in general, you know?
Donald Trump, sure, I assumed we would.
Well, because I thought that guy was a registered Republican, and then he maybe donated, the guy who attempted to assassinate Donald Trump. I'm sorry, I'm really terrible at names.
Crooks.
Yeah, that he was a registered Republican. So would you consider him a act of violence on the...
That's absolute... What are you talking about? Of course it's left-wing violence. They tried to kill the Republican guy running for president. What are we doing? Come on, dude. Stop. It's unbelievable.
I would consider the attempted assassination
of the right-wing candidate for president as left-wing violence. Yeah.
A presidential nominee political violence, yes.
Yes.
I don't know if you know this, there are a lot of people on the right who don't like Donald Trump.
I do know a few. Yeah.
Political violence isn't just Republican, Democrat. That's why I say left versus right.
Okay.
Those on the right are more routinely targets, and it's very blatant. People can say he was a registered Republican. That doesn't change the fact that it was an act of political violence carried out against Donald Trump, who's a conservative.
Yes.
Republican, whatever term you want to use.
Well, I guess, but if the argument is the left is violent, and I'm just thinking about this guy's, political background from the person. I hear what you're saying, that the right is targeted more often.
Yeah, we're the victims of political violence.
More often.
Right.
And
much more.
So, would you classify that specific incident as violence of the right or of the left?
Of the left.
Well, the target is the right. The target was Donald Trump. So the net result is the same. We are often the targets of violence.
Yeah, but the left
including someone who may be a moderate Republican. Yeah, the left is still overwhelmingly violent. And I point to those polls that you can peruse from YouGov, from Reuters, not bastions of...
All right, we're skipping to the next debater because I feel like this one is, I feel like, no. All right, who's that?
Well, that was surprisingly
not another liberal white woman, not another liberal white woman, not another liberal white woman.
Productive. And I say surprisingly, not in the context of change my mind, but in the context of what we see in today's social media highlight reels. I hope that we can keep this up. Let's move on to our next conversation with...
a liberal white woman! Let's go! Let's freaking go, guys! We did it! We did it.
Madison, like the town.
Allow me to assert the premise today, which is that today, especially in 2025, I am presupposing that predominantly the political violence right now is coming from the left, setting a tenor and tone where everything you see here today is necessary. And if you disagree with that, you're more than welcome to change my mind.
Yeah.
All right. So, which part of that the left is predominantly responsible for the tone of political violence today do you disagree with?
Well, I have to think that we first have to consider how many people are on the left and what is the true ideology and mythos behind this new occurrence of violence that we see with the left.
Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna be retarded. No! We have to define left. Oh, shit.
Of course, there's potential skews of media. I don't doubt that crime is not happening, but how many people are truly committing crime out of the sake of less, or out of the sake of radicalism, or could it be plastered on there just to get this ball rolling about narrative? The only other question that I had, a personal question about you, is, and it's a tough one.
Is it related to the topic?
It is.
Okay.
Would Jesus be on the left or the right?
Well,
oh my god, I love when people do this. It's like a gotcha question. Well, Jesus said give money to the poor, and actually socialism is on the left. Bro, literally this is stroke level mentality. Jesus would, again, I'm not a Christian, so I don't want to speak for anybody. It's really not my place. Jesus would be on the party that isn't for murdering 1 million babies a year. All right? I think Jesus would definitely take the side that doesn't support murdering 1 million babies a year. Personally, I think Jesus would be on the side that isn't castrating their children. By the way, castrating a male is a sin, according to the Bible. Let me pull up the actual Bible verse for you, because people don't know this. It's a real actual sin. Like, God actually felt like it was important to put this in the book. Castrating. I'll get you the actual verse. Deuteronomy 23:1. All right. Deuteronomy 23:1. All right, let's go, baby. I'm gonna whip it out for you. All right, no man who has been castrated or whose penis has been cut off may be included among the Lord's people. No one born out of wedlock descendant of such a person, whatever, etc., etc. But dude, this is the one. 23:1, Deuteronomy. Okay, all right. More like Neuteronomy. That's what they're doing. But I'm sorry to whip this out, man. No, Jesus would not be on the left. Jesus would not be on the left. Absolutely not. Are you insane? Are you crazy? Like, absolutely not. And by the way, did you know that statistically, between the right and the left, people on the right give, by an order of magnitude, so much more charity than people on the left? People on the left want socialism and shit because they don't actually have any biblical values that compulses them to actually give to the poor. Let me actually pull this up. You know, I'm gonna even ask Grok. All right. In the USA, who gives more charity? People on the right or the left? And by how much more? No yapping response. I just want the fucking numbers. All right. Sorry, man. I absolutely hate when people do this. I saw Piers Morgan just had like a gay debater, a gay Christian versus a straight Christian. It's like, well, what the fuck are you doing, man? People on the right give more to charity than people on the left. Studies show Republicans donate $60 to $160 more per year on average, with a meta-analysis of 31 studies conservatives significantly give more charity. That's the reason, okay? That is the reason, all right? So you could literally shove your entire absolute garbage up yo ass about how Jesus would actually be a communist, radical communist, pro-abortion, pro-transgender guy. Jesus would not, because Jesus actually believed in the Bible, and the Bible's not for that.
That's a conversation for another day. We talk about that in church quite a bit. I don't necessarily know that he would fit within the current American left-right paradigm. But I will tell you one thing. Jesus would certainly be against political violence as a form of intimidation or coercion.
He's against that, that's for sure. Yep.
It seems to me like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're not disagreeing with the idea, the uptick that there is an increase in political violence from the quote-unquote left. You're just not sure if you define them as left?
Partially, yeah. I just don't necessarily want to just assign political violence or terrorism directly to the left, because we see political violence across.
Just more on the. He said it's more on the left.
The world in
sure.
Autocratic or conservative ideologies. So maybe China is a really good example. Arguably.
Whoa! Did she say that China is an autocratic conservative ideology? China's communist. They're far left. What? All right.
Leftist violence?
Of leftist violence, especially. Or, well, no, autocratic and conservative violence.
China would be conservative?
I would believe so, because they're...
Bro! What are we doing? Guys, there is no way! Are you joking me?
Autocracy. So they have to practice conservative ideologies to obtain... What? They can't liberate their people. That's what the left is. That's what liberation is.
Well, I don't know how...
They are... Okay, dude, they are literally a communist dystopia. They are forcing their people into work camps to survive because of communism. Communism.
Familiar you are with the CCP, but they're communist. And they did so under the guise of liberating people. And then, of course, you don't actually have any democratically held elections.
The left is supposed to be about liberating, by the way. A lot of people don't understand this. It's a joke. Communism is inherently violent. I'm about to hit you with real-life facts. Are you ready to hear some real-life facts? Communism means that we divide all the property. We seize all the property and all the means of everything from everybody and then redistribute it. How do you seize that shit? It's with violence. It's with violence. Communism is inherently violent because it can't exist without violence. Anyone that says that they're a socialist or a communist, whatever, they are inherently violent people. They just don't want to admit it. All right? Musk is worth $500 billion. If you want a communist utopia where you redistribute the wealth, how are you going to redistribute Elon Musk's money if it's not literally violently ripping it out of his hands? And then, after the government does manage to redistribute the wealth against the will of the people, do you know what the government does? They have full power. They have full power over the distributing of everything. So essentially, what communism does is it creates a super giga-tier god class on top and a second poor retarded class on bottom. That is communism. Communism is inherently violent, and the leftoids are retarded.
Again, so they are communist. They've done so to liberate people, namely from the decadence, the quote-unquote shackles of the Western world. I'm just a little bit, I guess, flummoxed as to how you would define communist China, the Communist Chinese Party, as right-wing.
Well, because when Marx wrote his communist ideologies, it was conservative-based. He didn't enjoy other...
She thinks Karl Marx was a conservative? What are they teaching them in college, bro? What are they learning?
Other people, races. He wanted to eliminate races.
What does it have to do with conservatism?
It has to do with human rights, because conservatism isn't looking to liberate people from or define human rights. It's looking to remove human rights.
Are you ready for my hot take? There's no such thing as human rights. Human rights are a made-up term made by governments to make you feel like you actually have rights to shit. You have no rights. The only rights that you have are things that the government lets you do. There are no human rights. The only human right is free will. Aside from free will, you have no human rights. You have privileges given to you by the government. You have no rights. Okay? That's the reality. And these people will mince words and think what rights are you missing? What rights are you missing as a human? Okay? You are literally here in college, probably paid for by somebody else. You are talking, broadcasting your word to millions of people. Like, what human rights are you missing in this capitalist society?
Conserving the beliefs of the state and conserving the beliefs of elitism.
Okay, so what if your premise is flawed? So what if conservatism, and I understand, by the way, I agree with you, it means different things across. For example, conservative in the UK. In Canada, you're basically a liberal or a liberal separatist. There's no real conservative party. But in the United States, it's not about conserving the state. As a matter of fact, our Constitution is very unique in that it said the state doesn't grant any rights. So it's preserving the Constitution where you are granted unalienable rights, meaning birthrights, by God. And the state only serves to recognize those rights and protect them. And so if the state ever infringes upon the rights that are naturally yours by birthright...
But natural rights.
Well, that's the founding fathers who would be conservative. But natural rights being...
Republican?
Correct. The founding fathers came up with quote-unquote rights that the government will fight for. They're not really rights. You don't inherently have those rights. You only have those rights in America because the government will fight for you to keep those privileges. Again, human rights aren't real. Human rights are not a real thing. It's a made-up word that people like throwing around. You don't have a right to anything. Someone stronger than you is going to beat the shit out of you and take your shit. And the only reason why they don't do that is because the government will step in and stop them. The government is what's there to stop stronger people from beating the shit out of you. That's where we're at. So you could thank the government for living in a society where they hold that back. You have a privilege that you were born in America, and America will fight for you. But these aren't rights.
Well, this was before the Republican Party. This is the Republican Party. But I'm just confused. So you would say that communist China, conservative?
I would say it's autocracy that uses conservative.
Okay. But how is that conservative? For example, you say doing away with races. How is that conservative?
It conserves their power over the state or over the nation.
So you believe that conservatives want the state to have more power?
I think that we define conservative beliefs by our Republican values, but conservatism across the globe looks very different.
Okay. Well, I agree that different parties, because there's also the Conservative Party, for example, whereas here it's the Republican Party. We're talking about conservatism in the United States. It seems to me that your presupposition is that conservatives, Republicans...
It's like, someone just killed Charlie Kirk. Do you condemn left-wing violence? Well, you know, China is a communist right-wing state, so obviously it's the right that's the problem. This is why they killed Charlie Kirk. This is why they killed Charlie Kirk. Yep, they killed him because he's talking to these people. And they're all retarded. And you know what? She's gonna say some shit like this in college, and her professor would put a gold star on her and be like, hell yeah, keep going. You figured it out.
Want more state control, want more government power, as opposed to the Democrat Party, liberals, okay? That would apply over healthcare, what you can eat, what you can drive, taxes. They're more liberal, more open-minded on the left with those policies. Okay. I would just disagree with that, considering if you just look at marginal tax rates and you look at gun policy, you look at speech policy, you look at energy policy, what you can drive. But going back to political violence, you said you wouldn't want to ascribe the uptick that we both recognize, political violence to the left. What would be required for it to be ascribed to the left? What if they said it was? Like, what if someone's...
I would say, like, I'm looking at this globally.
He's literally saying we're talking about the United States, and she's like, let's look at it globally. Now, China's communist, which is obviously right-wing. You can never win this argument, man. There's no way. How are you going to ever win the argument against people like this? It's like you don't understand. This is the actual logical brain flow that we're dealing with here. All right, you have to understand what we're doing. This is what we're doing. All right, the leftoid mind. All right, the left is violent, right? So you say the left is violent. This is the leftoid response. Communism is violent. Communism is right-wing. Checkmate. Yep. It's over. It's over. Destroyed. Yeah, it's over. What are you gonna say to that? They just defeated you with facts and logic. Yep. That's it. Argument over. Good luck, Steven. Good luck, Steven Crowder. Good luck debating your way out of this one.
Let's talk about.
I'll be real. One thing Steven needs to do in his future to change my mind is he needs to do it more Charlie Kirk style. He can't have a 40-minute discussion with a retard like this, man.
Here in the United States, because that's what we're discussing. Yeah. What I'm asking you is, what would be required if someone were to commit an act of political violence and you consider it on the left? What if they said it's because they're on the left? Would that count?
I would say so, no.
No.
If leftists said we are killing you because we hate you and because we, the leftists, are violent, would you consider that left-wing violence? And she says no. This is the problem, man. You are dealing with anti-Trump syndrome, Trump derangement syndrome, and there's nothing else to say.
If somebody is doing an act in towards the left, what side of the left and why? Because what we refer to as the left is now a religion and ideology.
I would agree with that.
This is a secular movement.
Secular humanism,
and,
yeah.
Well, you can really say demonic too, because like a lot of those people are nuts. And to try to return back to their liberalist state. Because in some ways, liberalists believe that they've been robbed of human rights. It's a radicalism of people that, honestly, if the conservatives, like maybe 20 years ago, started assigning themselves the idea of human rights or like, public policy and things like that, there would probably have been a switch around for the conservative movement to be more actually the radical people.
Do you mean like the Civil Rights Act? Or like
Civil Rights
Emancipation Proclamation, freedom of speech policy, Section 230, Second Amendment. Do you mean those kinds of rights?
Those kinds of rights, but
if the right had
That's literally all Republican. That's literally all the right wing in America. The right wing in America did all of that.
Spearheading those?
And probably a little bit more socialist ideas. But of course...
She thinks that socialists are pushing gun rights? Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, God, please protect this soul, this girl over here. She's trying so hard. Oh, Lord. Oh, God, have mercy on us all. I don't know what we've done that we've created a world and a society where someone like this could exist. Like, this is a level of psyop I've never, ever seen before. I didn't think you've ever invented someone like this.
Well, it's not just change the definitions, right? What you can't do, or I would disagree with doing, is saying racist means conservative, because it doesn't, right? Most slaveholders would be Democrat, and I know we would talk about how the parties have switched. You can't say KKK equal, those would be largely Democrats. There's nothing conservative about racism. There's nothing.
Again, I think that we're saying Republican parties and Democratic parties when conservative.
That's what we're doing. We're discussing it here in the States.
Of Republican, because if you want to argue that Republicans were liberating people, wouldn't that constitute as a left nowadays?
Why would that be left?
Because they're liberating people from.
She's saying every time the Republicans do something good, that counts as leftism, but every time the Republicans do something bad, that counts as right wing. Every time the leftists do violence, that counts as autocracy, and that counts as right-wing violence. That's why she says communism is right-wing. That's why she says China is right-wing. Because she views right and left as good and bad, where left is good and right is bad. So therefore, every time a leftist does a bad thing, it's a right-wing action. I've never even heard this before, but this is perfect. This is absolute cinema. I actually get it. It took me literally till here, but I actually get it. She views left as good. So every time a leftist does something bad, the leftist did a right-wing action. This is insane. I've never heard this before in my entire life. It's just right bad. So when the right actually does something good, like free the slaves, it's a left-wing action. I am literally in shock that humans like this exist. I am literally in shock people like this exist. This is insane. This is the craziest thing of my life. I've never witnessed something like this before.
Slavery, and it's a Republican mindset.
No, I don't see how that would be left at all. As a matter of fact,
She thinks abolishing slavery is a leftist mindset because the right-wing people did a good thing. So even though it was the Republicans, it was leftist because it was good. Imagine paying $30,000 a year to go to college and be retarded. I am broken. I'm a broken man. Charlie Kirk, you were a calmer, more forgiving man than I. I am literally on the floor right now. I don't even know what to say.
I think your fundamental flaw that I would argue is this idea that the left is more...
Right, the leftists, the Democrats, they made the KKK, but since that was a bad action, that counts as a right-wing action. Are you on the right track now? Are you on the right page?
Concerned with individual liberty. That makes sense why you would ascribe conservatism to communism, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who agrees with you. But right now, on the political violence, let me ask you this.
Karl Marx, he was a conservative.
Wanted to do away with the nuclear...
Marx was a conservative! She's in college. She's gonna be a teacher. I guarantee you. I bet you any money. She's gonna get a degree in fucking teaching. She's gonna end up being a teacher. She's gonna teach a whole generation about how left good, right bad. I don't know, man. I don't know. You are a stronger man than I, Charlie Kirk. This is why Charlie Kirk got shot out of college, man. He was having discussions with these people and actually getting through to them.
Family wanted to seize the means of...
KKK was anti-Catholic, burnt crosses, and you're gonna say that they were right-wing?
Production and distribution. I just won't agree with you that anything about that is conservative. The political violence, the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Confusing conservative with Republican ideals. And
okay.
The Republican ideal is to protect the family. In some ways, you could say it's conservative.
Sure.
Family,
yeah, conservative.
Again,
isn't protecting the family a good thing, though?
That is
Karl Marx wanted the state to be in charge of the family.
That is the American perspective on conservatism.
Okay.
But the arrival of what is liberalism, what is conservatism, we can't assign it to American Republican Party or Democratic Party because people hold left-leaning views in the Republican Party.
Sure.
And we can say that Republicans want to liberate the world from war nowadays, at least with Donald Trump's administration, and that the Democratic Party wanted to do more war in Bush's era. Right? So what is the confusion?
Well, did you say Bush was a Republican? But I would agree with you.
Is it Clinton? Clinton was...
Yeah.
Democrat?
I mean, I will say this. All presidents have been more pro-war than how they campaigned, with the exception of Donald Trump. I think we would agree on that. Political violence. The assassination of Charlie Kirk in cold blood. Would that be leftist political violence?
I think that was a Satanist.
Okay. Daryl Brooks, Waukesha, running people over. He's a black supremacist who wanted to kill...
She said... She refuses to say that the guy that killed Charlie Kirk was a leftist because she thinks he was a Satanist. Dude, everything is on the other side. Everything. This is insane. She's got to be trolling. What is this? By the way, Satanism is leftism. Okay, I'm just gonna be real here. You will be hard pressed to find right-wing Satanists. All the Satanists are on the left. Dude, what are we talking about? Is it left-wing violence? No, it's Satanism. Bro, what are we doing, guys? Okay, does the Satanist vote for Trump or vote for Kamala Harris? Oh, the Satanist votes for Kamala Harris, but it's not left-wing violence. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So yeah, this is how some people operate, I guess.
Cops and white people, would that be leftist political violence?
And he is a part of the BLM or Black Supremacy movement.
And would you not consider that among the...
So, Black Supremacy movement, does that count as left-wing violence?
Left. Antifa, would that be considered among the left?
Antifa, anti-fascist, where they fight against Trump, is that left?
I think that they're assigning themselves a party to assimilate with, but that doesn't necessarily, it doesn't account for leftist values. Because
left good. So even though they call themselves leftists, and even though they kill right-wing people, it doesn't matter because they do a bad thing. So therefore the action is a right-wing thing. Even though they assign themselves leftist value, even though they will say, I am a leftist and I am killing that guy because he's right-wing. And then he will kill the right-wing guy and say, I killed him because he's right-wing and I'm a leftist. And she will be like, even though he calls himself a leftist, he's not a leftist because leftism is good and he just think bad. Yep, that's where we at. That is where we at. Yup. That's the bullet. Yup, absolutely. Absolutely, baby. That's where we're at, man. Yes, sir. This is me. All right? No, I don't want any violence in anyone else. This is me. All right? Just a nice self-portrait over here. Yup, absolutely. That's what we're at right now. Yes, sir. Bro, what are we doing? I can't believe people like this are real.
Okay. So let me ask you here.
Bro, her mom was on a straight Tylenol drip for 9 months.
I don't want to waste too much time on this. How would you curb political violence, right? The whole reason for crime statistics is a risk assessment.
Guy, I'm a leftist. My boyfriend is a gay transgender furry. I'm a leftist. I'm gonna kill a right-wing guy because he's right-wing and I'm a leftist. Kills him. Do you think it was a leftist? No, it was a Satanist.
To see who's most likely to be victimized and prevent it in the future. I get that you're in college and I understand that things can be kind of nebulous or abstract, but there are real people dying, right? And some of them are people I've known sitting in this exact... Okay.
What does she study?
Right. And some of them are people I've known sitting in this exact... Okay.
Did she say she studies war? What did she say she studies? Let's see if I can put on subtitles.
Yeah.
Right. And some of them are people I've known sitting in this exact... Okay.
I think she said she studies war. Dude, this can't be real. These people can't be real, dude.
So where is the violence coming from in the country right now when you take into account Charlie Kirk? I mean, what just happened here down the road at ICE, or Alvarado, I'm not sure it's pronounced as well. We haven't gone more than 3 days in the last 3 weeks without significant acts of self-identified leftist terrorism. How would you curb it if you're going to curb political violence, and it seems like you're not willing to say that anything is political within the paradigm as it's universally recognized.
Sun Tzu over here decided, yup, it's Satanism.
What would you do?
I think people need to get off social media. They're becoming radicalized.
Is it right-wing violence or left-wing violence? Well, it's social media-triggered violence of Satanists. We can't decide it's any party.
Okay.
How much time can you spend on TikTok, like, cycling through the same, like, violent ideologies? Because
you're right, but where does the ideology come from? It's the leftoids, bro.
Conservatives can have.
I'm banned from TikTok because I said Xi Jinping has a small penis, so that's the Communist Party.
I can say Instagram as well.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I agree that social media can be very toxic, but we're seeing real acts of violence. So assuming that you can't wave your magic wand and ban all social media.
Are you meaning in terms of like policies, like if I had a seat?
Well, we need to identify the problem. God. Where do you think the political violence is coming from more right now?
I think
I'm like trying to get her to talk, but she's wrestling with her two brain cells to try to come up with something.
On a global scale?
In the United States. In the United States.
In the United States, I can't speak on the United States because I don't think it's just the United States.
She can't speak for the United States because it's a global issue. So you can't solve the problems at home because the whole world has shit going on.
No, but that's what the conversation is today. So if you don't want to, that's okay. But I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate the disagreement respectfully.
I don't appreciate it. I actually really don't appreciate it at all.
You're never going to get me to say that the Communist Chinese Party is right wing.
Well, of course you wouldn't because like you represent the Conservative Party.
No, he wouldn't because communism is left. It's left. What are we doing? What is even going on? You wouldn't admit it because you're conservative. No, we wouldn't admit it because it's just verifiably untrue.
Republican Party most.
Well, there's no conservative party here. I'm just conservative.
There are examples of people who are carrying out things violently, but it is not just this ideology. It is a religion to something greater, and that's what I just want to assign it. Is that because?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. And like I've kind of already iterated my points, but.
No, and I think and we would agree. Karl Marx loathed religion and wanted to replace it with the religion of the state.
Yeah.
True. And he was a leftist communist.
And that's what we see from these leftists. But I appreciate you sitting down, Madison. Thank you very much. Are those furry pants? So that they look.
The furry pants and what?
Well, they're fur.
Bear pants.
Oh, they're bear pants. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Shoes that are very, very exclusive and rare, but.
Sorry, what took you back?
Exclusive and rare shoes.
When I said furry pants, if they're bear pants, I didn't mean to offend you. They look like fur.
Well, they are bear.
Okay,
Boston.
they're bear pants.
Are you a fan of Boston?
No, not very much.
I'm a fan of Boston. What?
A little bit of time there with the hockey exchange. Montreal, we do an exchange with the Boston, and it's an intensely uneducated and often quite racist people. But thank you very much, Madison.
Of course.
I appreciate you taking the time. God bless.
God bless.
Wow, that was a nightmare conversation. That was an actual nightmare conversation. Well, I'm glad these conversations are being had because it's broadcasting what's going on.
And a moment, if I may, for a brief intermission in the only time I'd be addressing the crowd this day to issue a new challenge and lay out next steps.
Guys, this will be probably one of the only times that I address you kind of as a mass of people because these usually end up being individual conversations. But I wanted to take a moment just to kind of communicate something here. When we started Change My Mind, the idea was back in 2016. I think the first ones were in 2017, so nearly a decade now. SMU was one of the very first places. And actually, I believe one of the very first places was me with a sandwich board in Burlington, Vermont, in a morph suit because it wasn't on campus initially. But the more I went on campus, the more I saw the failures of the institutions. And I want to be really clear about something. This was never designed to mock, denigrate, or dunk on students who don't know any better.
No, that's what I'm here for.
It was always designed to highlight the failures of the institutions because I was dumbfounded as to the fact when leftists would sit down that this was the first time they were hearing mainstream conservative.
When leftists would sit down and be like, yeah, communism is a right-wing ideal. He's taking this moment to address the crowd after fucking bear pants. Understandable. Understandable.
So it was always about highlighting the failures of institutions, and that includes media, but certainly academia.
Yeah, I very much respect having a nice conversation, but like, as someone that's commentating, nah, that she be retarded.
And that's why the next step, and something we've been trying to put together for a long time, but no one has agreed to do so, and why I'll be announcing this publicly and reading it out, we're actually going to be starting or calling for formal debates with professors at school. And the only way we can think to get these people to show up is to offer up $10,000 to the school for whatever cause of their choice, to their institution, and reach out and, oh, Lane, sorry, your phone locked. Where's Lane? Your phone, see, I have to read this off his phone because I just had to get the list. Can you hold it open? All right. And so we have reached out, and any Tom, Dick, Harry, or Karen
who will respond and take the $10,000 offered up as a charitable contribution in any of the departments of political science or liberal arts at the University of Texas, at Kansas University, UCLA, Cal Berkeley, Stanford, USC, Penn State, Columbia, NYU, Harvard, Boston University, any of their esteemed professors in these schools who are willing to have a debate with a college dropout comedian. They can name the time, the place, pick the moderator, and the rules. It should be an easy day out. And I encourage anyone who has any friends at these institutions, or if you have an association, to encourage their professors to do so. Or we can have a civil dialogue and maybe get to the root cause as to why you've been failed as students.
Wow.
You've been failed. It's time to go straight to the top to the people who failed you. We'll announce this publicly and post this list publicly, and I'll update you guys if anyone reaches back out. No luck yet. I very much appreciate you doing the work that your professors in many cases refuse to do. Thank you.
All right. I'd love to see him roast some professors instead of some retarded Karens.
All right, now back to the regular programming, the changing of minds. Meet Andrew.
So I'm asserting that today, by and large, the tone, the temperature in this country, and the majority of political violence is coming from the left. And it's reaching a really serious boiling point. I've been observing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that violence doesn't occur across the board, but predominantly from the left. If you disagree, you're more than welcome to change my mind.
Yeah, so one thing, I'm curious where you think that...
Bro, I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. Like, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be this guy. But you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, bro. Nah, that's diabolical. No, we can't do it. Oh, man. Oh, dude. Oh, that's rough, buddy.
Political violence comes from, just kind of as a general.
Where the violence on the left comes from?
Just where political violence, comes from, or on the left specifically, either way.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you where it comes from on the left exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
I can tell you because I've been on the receiving end many times. So the reason I stopped doing Change My Mind for years is because every single time out there was some kind of attack.
Yeah.
For exactly the kind of conversation we're having right now.
Right.
And the ones that you've seen. I don't come out and instigate, but some people yell at me. Rocks, concrete milkshakes, Molotov cocktails, slashing tires, doxing. With Charlie Kirk, you're just seeing one that got through. He had all the security before he was assassinated in an act of leftist terrorism because there were many close calls.
Yeah.
So that then empirically, that the recent polls from YouGov, from Reuters show that a majority of those in the left believe that political violence is somewhat to completely acceptable.
Yeah.
In contrast to the right, so I'll address leftist political violence. If you refer to your political opposition, Donald Trump and his voters, as fascist, compare them to Nazis, say they're racist, they support oppression of blacks through the police force, say that they want to commit genocide and erase trans people because they don't believe that children should transition or biological men and women's sports, they're sexist, homophobic, and say, for example, specifically on Donald Trump, and this is the entire DNC, as far as national figureheads, saying, and you won't have another election again.
Yeah.
Because he won't give up the reins of power. If I believe that, I'd be in the street with a gun.
Right.
I use that argument all the time. If you actually believe what the media tells you, it justifies violence. Because if there's an actual fascist Nazi takeover trying to conquer your nation, kill you, and end all elections, the only thing to do is actual violent revolution. So I think the media knows that most people won't believe them, but I think the media also knows that a few people will believe them. I think the media knows that a couple people will believe them.
So I guess from my view...
Do you understand that? Would you agree with that kind of premise?
No, I understand where that's coming from. And I think really what has changed recently is there's been more hatred in politics. I guess can we kind of agree with that?
Sure.
I think that there's been increasing violence. I think that progressivism necessarily...
I think there's been increasing hatred too, for the record. I think the hatred is also on the left, for the record. I really do. Dude, the people on the left think that we'll celebrate your death if you're murdered. Yeah, I think there is increasing hatred. Dude, it's gone to the point where if you're like, yo, I don't think you should murder your unborn child, they will say that you are a Nazi and a fascist, because I don't think people should murder their unborn children.
It's predicated on divisiveness and hatred. I don't think that's the case with conservatism.
Interesting. I guess what part of...
I mean, if you look at left-wing conversation now, it's all Trump bad. Right, Trump is out there, coming up with policy shit. You could agree, you could disagree, whatever. That's not my business. And then the left is just Trump bad. It's the only thing they have. Could you name one leftist talking point aside from Trump bad? You can't. You literally can't.
Progressivism, do you think, comes with that? I mean, racial
division, gender division, classist division.
Right.
I mean, you don't see the right saying, hey, these people are fascist and they want to genocide you.
No, that's fair.
So, and I think it's necessary because, for example, leftism, socialism, right, you seize the means of production and distribution.
Right, yeah.
That requires violence. Lowering marginal tax rates does not.
Right, right. Yeah. I think there are forms of leftist ideology that have violence inherent in them, but I think there are also a lot on the political left. For example, my siblings, we get along like fantastic, especially in an age where people lose relationships over politics. I'm really thankful to not have that be the case. Have two siblings on the left. Both my parents are moderate political right. And
can I ask you, are your siblings, like, would you say significantly left?
I'd say, as policy-wise, fairly.
He's moderately right. He's going to change his mind. It's going to work. These are the only people you can actually convince. The only people you can actually convince are the people that are already willing to not fucking suck up to the cult of Marx. It's the only people. I bet you he's going to change his mind. I bet you it's going to wrap up with a positive.
I agree with the root cause of the problem is you can't argue that with someone who simply rejects the precept of God. In other words, you have to meet them on their territory and gradually pull them over to this concept where you can get them to agree, and I'm kind of good at this. You can get them to agree on some terms, for example, political violence. You can get them to agree on certain policies and then ask the why. And for example, I sat down, my favorite change my mind that I ever did, I had a girl sit down, because I'm pro-life, changed my mind. And she said, well, I don't know why you would judge me. I had to have an abortion. I didn't have a choice. I said, you did have a choice. I said, you know what? You're going to meet that child in heaven one day. She came back on the show 2 weeks later via Zoom and she'd become a pro-life activist.
Praise God.
Oh my God, that's a crazy story.
I didn't start.
I'm sorry I made fun of him. I called him Syndrome because I was goofing. This dude's super nice.
Something that she wouldn't hear. So this is to start the conversation, and then the conversations result in this. But I will say, I assume you're raised in the church, or raised with a Christian family?
Yes.
And SMU is relatively moderate as far as schools. There is a whole dark world that awaits you, and I want you to put the armor of the Lord on.
Oh, I'm from Connecticut. Okay,
all right. There you go. Plus, you got the McMahons there. They do some weird stuff. All right, well, was it Andrew?
Yes. I know this is unconventional. Is it cool if I pray with you real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done that several times.
Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for Stephen and what he's doing out here. And I just ask that you can use his voice as to be an ambassador for your will. I thank you for the ability to have this beautiful day, this beautiful breeze, and have conversations out here. And I just ask that you are present with and bless everyone that is in attendance today, as well as everyone in our country, those who are struggling, and sometimes most importantly to pray for. God is our enemies and those who fervently disagree with us. Even if they want us dead, we have to pray for their salvation and for them to come around. And we just appreciate having this gift of life, that we're able to do this and able to hopefully do your will and do this in your name. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
In Jesus' name, amen. I apologize because I looked around a couple times to make sure no one was coming in hot.
Oh, no. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
That was so wholesome. Oh, my God. Parallel universe syndrome. If Mr. Incredible would have taken him under his wing. That's what I have to say about this. Based. You know what? I'm going to call this video here because while obviously I do believe the left is violent, I do believe that you have representatives of Congress putting targets on Stephen's back. I do believe you have people out there that actually want this guy dead and would celebrate his murder, just like they'd celebrate Charlie Kirk's and everyone else's. There are good people out there. There are people that are doing their best to put up the good fight too. I hope that the praying didn't offend anybody, because obviously praying is fascism now. All right, but based. Put on the armor of the Lord, for real, for real. This is a spiritual war. Now, we could argue on specifics and individual conversations as much as we want, but the reality is, the underlining, in my opinion, the underlying part to the entire political spectrum debate is whether people actually want to fight for God or whether people want to fight for themselves. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, man.